Hey guys, some of you guys would have seen the previous video and would be aware that on May 8th, Japan is going to downgrade the classification of COVID from a class 5 that it currently is down to a class 2, which is the same as influenza, which is good news because that means that a lot of the restrictions that we had and the things that we had to do and isolation and all sorts of things in relation to COVID will become much more lax and a much less hassle and give us much more freedom. So we're really happy about that. And it actually took a long time for them to decide to do that. And then, as you can see, they decided to do it, but not until May 8th. And that's typical of the way the Japanese government usually do things. They normally talk about it for a really long time first, and then decide to do it at a much later date. It's sort of like to give everybody time to get used to the idea or something, who knows, but they always do that. But not always, apparently, because on Friday, the Prime Minister, out of nowhere, suddenly announced that from March 13th, which is only, 4 weeks away or something, the obligation to wear masks, or the request that we wear masks, is going to be dropped. And that was to apply to both outside and inside. So recently they had become a bit more lax about the outside thing, that if as long as you weren't in a big group and as long as you're more than 2 meters from other people, that you didn't need to wear a mask. And again, none of these were rules, they're all just guidelines. So the guideline recently was changed to say that if you're outside, you don't really need to wear a mask. But the inside guideline was still the same. For example, in restaurants and shopping centres and supermarkets and all that sort of thing. At school, that's a big one too, kids at school. So, yeah, out of nowhere on Friday, the Prime Minister announced that that they're going to lift that on March 13th, which is only 4 weeks away, which is absolutely, for some of us, is absolutely excellent because, you know, it depends on your thinking on the subject. Some people love the mask, as we've spoken about recently, but some of us hate it and will be very pleased to get rid of it, throw it away and not have to wear it again. Of course, that's his guideline, which of course some restaurants and places will straight away take their "you must wear a mask" sticker off their front door, and the signs that say you must wear a mask, they'll probably get rid of them. But we suspect there'll be a lot that don't. There'll be a lot that, because that's always been a request, right? It's a requested guideline by the government, and it was then a request from the restaurants and other public places for us to wear masks. So they can still request that we do. They can't enforce that we do, but they can request that we do. So we suspect that a lot of them will. The problem is, as we've spoken about on previous videos, that prior to COVID, Japanese people were most Japanese people were already fairly germophobic anyway. Our first video about masks in Japan was actually about 10 years ago. If I think about it, I might put a link to that under this video, just for nostalgia's sake. But yeah, masks have been a thing in Japan for decades, you know. So, and the fear of germs and the cleaning your hands with alcohol and all that sort of stuff. You know, most Japanese people, when they arrive home from somewhere, will go in and wash their hands and gargle, just with water, but they'll wash their hands and gargle when they come home to get rid of any germs they might have picked up while they're outside. I mean, how effective that is up to debate, isn't it? But that's a standard practice in Japan that most people do. So the germophobia thing was already fairly intense, or some would say extremely intense, before COVID-19 came along. So we just had 3 years of the government and everybody else telling everybody to be more paranoid and going on more about the masks and the sterilising yourself with alcohol every 5 minutes and all the rest of it. So it's going to be really hard to undo that. You know, it could take decades to undo that now. It's likely that a lot of people will just continue doing what they've been doing, you know, because a lot of them were doing it before COVID, and there'll probably be a lot more doing it after COVID. So, you know, loving the mask, should probably put that video underneath this one as well. We made that video recently talking about how many people love the mask. You'll see cars coming past us the other way here with husband and wife, or just a single person sitting in a car wearing their mask, and there's a lot of people here, including someone in the back seat here who loves wearing the mask all the time. So those guys won't want to stop, and they won't have to stop, because it's sort of it was normal before COVID to wear masks. It'll be, still considered normal after COVID to wear them as well. It's sort of considered to be considerate to other people and cautious and a sign of a good citizen to wear a mask. And again, it was before COVID. There's someone that was wearing a mask, it was out of consideration to other people. So it's got a positive image, and it's always had a positive image. So, for some will continue, obviously. So anyway, but for those of us who hate the things and can't wait to throw them away, yay! Those of us who really don't like the things and don't want to wear them anymore, from March 13th, we won't have to. We can throw them away. Won't have to wear them again. So isn't that good news? Yay! Anyway, that was it. More videos coming soon.